Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another episode of The Gloving Paradigm, where I am your host, Peter aka LPD Dubuque, the cringiest glover on YouTube. And this week, we're going to be going over a very interesting topic because I've been seeing kind of a trend lately where it kind of comes up and then kind of goes down again, and it comes up again and it kind of goes down. Kind of has this wavering resurgence of popularity, I guess.
What the? Huh? What the hell's going on here? Huh?
And what is it this week that I'm going to be talking about? Very simple. By the title of this video, you should probably know. Inverting lights. Your light placement dynamics is something that I want to talk about this week because it's actually a very interesting topic. Not only that is a way for you to approach your light show in a way that most people don't. And I don't know why most people don't, but you know, that tends to be the thing, I guess.
12 seconds later.
So, I'm sure most of you are probably asking me as I go right into this episode because I don't want to waste any more of your time. So basically, what is inverted lights? Basically, it's just placing the lights in the opposite direction of what is typically the standard position, which to us glovers, the typical standard position is above the finger, pointing forward. Inverting your lights is literally just taking that direction and turning it backwards.
What? I knew it. Stop letting him make you realize stuff.
Hence why the name is Inversion? Inverted?
5 minutes later.
Now, there are many different reasons why people do this. Some people might just say that they did it because they wanted to. Some people actually have a much more reasonable reason to, or a much more elaborate reason to explain away why they are doing it in that fashion. But this isn't something brand new. This has been done many times throughout the history of gloving. At least from my memory, I have seen plenty of light show videos where people have done some inverting lights in some fashion, whether it's the thumbs, the pinkies. I even see it done with the middles. I even seen it done with the thumbs and pinkies. You know, I've even seen all 10 been inverted. You know, for crying out loud, Genghis Wrath actually did one very recently. See, right there. That looks totally fine. Wait, you can't tell from that? Fine, let me give you a different one then. There, how about that? Does that work for you?
You're not funny and nobody likes you.
And another huge reason why most people might do this is just a way of accenting their glove set. Now, I'm sure plenty of you guys are probably sitting there thinking, oh, he's going to be talking about his accent colors. No. As much as I would like to tell you guys to go check out that video right over there, that's not what we're working on here. What we are working on here is just simple placement of the lights and some caveats that you can put into it when you go to invert your lights.
Oh.
Okay, so yes, your thumbs are the most common ones that you'll see inverted, alright? The less common, but still kind of common that I've seen, at least in my career, is pinkies. Pinkies are also very common for people to invert. I've seen people do middle fingers inverted as well as a very interesting way. You know, I've also seen people put, you know, a light that has both forward and backwards on it to actually put on their middles to actually come up with a really cool effect. But again, we're getting into semantics here on that point.
Well, thank you.
So, I'm sure a lot of you are probably asking me, what is it about inverting lights that makes it so special, makes it so magical, make it so awesome? It's not as much as it just makes this grandeur change of everything, but it is the change in subtlety that adds to the impact of what it does.
Okay.
So, with thumbs, it's pretty simple. It acts like a palm light when you have them inverted. If you guys have watched any of my light show videos, which doesn't surprise me that none of you guys watch it, because why do you guys even watch any of my stuff in the first place?
I'm here because I like you, and I'd be psyched to be your friend.
I actually believe you.
Well, why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
If you watch any of my videos, you'll notice that I typically tend to have my thumbs inverted, and it's because I actually like the palm light effect. I like how when you do tunnels, and you do whips, it blows up your entire palm and it adds this beautiful glow to it, and I've always been a huge fan of that. Now, that I like palm lights. Palm lights are great, but palm lights for me tends to not work so well.
This guy.
So I like putting them in the thumbs. It still gives me my palm light treatments. I still can do all the fun, cool stuff with my thumbs. and it just adds more to my show.
What? That is crazy.
The other thing is, like I said, it gives depth to your tunnels, it gives depth to your whips. It really just gives depth to anything that allows your palm to be shown. Even when you do cage type stuff, you actually have a nice little glow going on in your fingers when you do cage.
Yes! That's awesome!
Not only that, but one of the things that people don't realize is that it actually will pull the focus away from your thumbs. Like, yes, people will notice that your thumbs are inverted, but their eyes aren't going to be so fixated on your thumbs as a focal point. And it actually helps remove your thumbs of being a focal point and allows your fingers to kind of keep that presence in the show. Most people think that this is crazy and that doesn't really happen. No, this actually happens. This actually does work. At least in my experience, I've just noticed so many people don't even talk about my thumbs at all when I'm doing my stuff.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Now, a lot of you are probably going to be asking me, why would anyone do it on their fingers? Why on earth would anybody want to have their fingers be inverted? Well, it adds a dynamic to your performance that you're probably not going to see. Something I will certainly say that if you have never inverted your lights ever, invert your lights once, just one time. Now granted, yes, I know if there's people out there like, but I have cube diffusers or shield diffusers, the big giant diffusers that won't let me do it. Change your diffusers and give it a try. If you find it too cumbersome to change your diffusers on your lights to try something out and experiment, then maybe this isn't for you. Okay, I understand because I use cube diffusers, so you don't really see me doing a lot of inversion on my fingers. But I also have plenty of lights that don't use my cube diffusers, and I can turn them inside out or invert them. There you go. See?
Wow! That was amazing!
But yes, so it does add this different kind of dynamic, especially when it comes to certain things such as whips and your dynamic move sets, flails and things of that nature. Not only that, it does add quite an interesting take on tutting as well. Mostly just because when you actually have your hand, palm, wrist thing pointing towards your viewer and you actually have lights inverted, they're going to see that light blasting right back at them. That's something that adds to the effect, that actually adds this layer of, or this adds an axis for you to operate on that your audience is probably never going to see before or has never experienced before. So this adds this little element of surprise.
What? It was pretty funny.
Not only that, this is just something I will certainly say when it comes to inverting your finger lights, is that it just acts as an accent. This is a way, if you don't feel like you want to do color theory or flash pattern dynamics or anything like that, that's fine. Simply just taking one of your lights and just turning them backwards pretty much does the same thing in terms of being an accent, whether it be an accent color or an accent flash pattern. This kind of breaks that rule of convention, if that makes any sense.
Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Why that it does is because it's something that's going to be noticeable to your viewer. Thumb lights, not as much. When you invert those, they're not. They get kind of put into the background. But that's for the effect. That is the reason you go for inverting your thumbs. However, when you invert your fingers, it's going to stick out to your audience more just because they're so typically used to seeing all 10 fingers pointing forward, all lights pointing forward. So when you do your fingers and you invert 2 of them, yeah, it's going to stick out more. But again, this adds to the whole flair of it all.
6.5 hours later.
So when it comes to my additional notes that I have here,
I attack them using my additional notes.
It has no effect.
there's something I do need to talk about, or stress about, I guess. And that is palm lights and backlights. Now, if you're not familiar with backlights, basically backlights is the same thing as palm lights, but it's on the back of your hands. Hence why I call them backlights. You know, instead of back palm lights or just palm, yeah. Palm lights, backlights. That's all you need to know.
Well, why are you boring me? I'm right.
When it comes to using actual palm lights or backlights, typically I never really seen this happen, but I'm sure somebody's gonna do it. But
are you sure about that?
I know for certain when it comes to palm lights and inverted thumbs, that's something you want to avoid, because like I said earlier, when you invert your thumbs, they act as a palm light. They give you the palm light effect without actually having a palm light, right? So why on earth do you want to try to do a palm light here and then have your thumbs act as a palm light? It's not going to work because it's just going to clash. Even if you have it set up in a way where it's like, oh, I'm using red and blue, and then they blink really, really fast. It still muddles too much. It does not work out very well. I've seen people try and try again to very little success. So in my opinion, and with my best advice, when it comes to palm lights and inverting your lights, just avoid them. If you invert your fingers, sure, keep doing your palm lights. But as soon as you invert your thumbs, that's when you want to remove the palm lights. They just clash. It does not work. You're going to cause too much of a distraction to your audience for them to even pay attention to your show. Okay? Now, when it comes to backlights, I can understand, oh, well, I can have backlights and invert my fingers because I'll put them underneath. Yeah, that's totally fun. Go ahead. Brilliant idea. However, I do want to say that it's something that you should experiment with when it comes to inverting your lights on top of your fingers and having a backlight. In my professional opinion, without actually doing the experimentation on it, it shouldn't really detract from each other. Mostly just because if you invert your finger lights and you have a backlight back here, they're pretty much far away from each other, and you're doing this so you're not actually like causing like a bend effect that's going to cause it to shine onto the back of your hand, unless you configure it in that fashion. So you don't necessarily have to worry as much, but I would certainly say when it comes to your backlight and the inverted lights, kind of making sure that they stick out from each other is certainly going to help. I would certainly say if you make your backlights a different flash pattern than your regular fingers, if you make your backlight a different flash pattern than your fingers, yeah, you should have no problem with that, because it's something that's going to differentiate it. And who knows, maybe the flash pattern you have on your backlights are actually going to look really cool when you do a lot of dynamic movements. Alright, another thing I want to cover about this is because some people don't think about it, but your brightness and your flash patterns are going to be also dependent on your overall configuration, because again, I've talked about this in multiple episodes, so you guys can go check out, that your flash patterns don't necessarily affect the brightness, but it affects their shutter speed, therefore it looks like their brightness is being affected. Okay, that's why dots always looks much dimmer than regular strobe, and it's just because the amount of exposure of the light that's happening is much smaller, and that's why it looks dimmer. Now, is this the end-all be-all when it comes to inverting lights? No. I will certainly say that when it comes to inverting lights, the ultimate thing you want to do is to experiment. You want to see what works, what comes off really pretty on camera, and what doesn't. As much as I don't like referencing this person, I will at least say that the quote is meaningful enough. No. Yes, Thomas Edison failed over 2,000 times to make a light bulb. And when asked about it, he didn't say that he failed. He found 2,000 different ways not to make a light bulb. It's kind of the same idea. He didn't fail to make your inverted lights look properly. He just found a way for them not to look great.
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
And that's pretty much all you need to take from this. Okay, so yes, that's pretty much all from my episode. I certainly hope you guys enjoy what I had to say on this particular topic. This is one of those kind of topics that I like talking about because it breaks the normal rules and convention. You know, everybody has this thought process that you have to do it in a certain way when you don't. You find the convention and then break it, because that's what you do. Or at least that's what I like to do. I like breaking rules recklessly.
What the hell was that?
Plug.
What? What the fuck?
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I want to just say thank you to everybody who has shown support to me. Whether it's just the normal verbal feedback that you guys give me on Discord, or the few comments that I actually do get from people, and I do try to respond as quickly as I possibly can, guys. I know I've been a little busy lately. A lot of things have been changing, and a lot of things have been happening with me, you know. especially with this old timer over here. But I certainly hope that you guys had to enjoy what I had to say. If you guys have any questions that I did not cover, you got the wonderful places on social media you can hit me up. They're all linked down below. And of course, Patreon down there. Have fun.
It's free real estate.
Other than that, I certainly hope you guys enjoy your time. And I really hope you guys come back for my next episode, because it's going to be a very interesting one. This is going to be the review that I think a lot of people have been waiting on. And I don't blame them, because I wanted to make sure that I did my due diligence of actually testing and experimenting with this light. So I hope you guys enjoy yourselves. But yes, I am your host Peter, aka LPD8 Dubuque, and I'll see you guys all next week.